Hello and welcome. So right now we're going to talk about errors. We have our app already doing authentication, and I see a really ugly error when I try to sign up a user that's already signed up because it has an error code at the beginning of it. And I've seen that error codes are coming from MongoErrors. So they call themselves MongoErrors, and they have error codes attached as the first part of a string, and we could use that to make custom error codes so we don't push this out to the user. So let's do that real quick now. So right now we're just passing back the error.message. That's not what we want to be passing back to the front end, because they will see that E1100 thing that we were seeing before. We want to show them something a little more friendly. So let's take a look at what we need here. So first I want to console.log the err.name. So this is important because we want to know if this is a Mongo error, we know that it has a code attached to the beginning of it, and we could use that code to push back error messages of our own. So if it is a Mongo error, then we're going to push it to an error handler that we're about to make. So we're going to console.log the error.name, and I want to show you that it is a Mongo error here. So let's sign up again and take a look here. It says Mongo error. So what we want to say is if err.name is triple equal to Mongo, you know what, that's not all capital, that was, yeah, it's like this, Mongo error, like that. And then what we'll do is we'll pass this to our error handler, which we haven't made yet. So let's just say DBError, and we'll pass in error. So our error handler is going to attach an error message that we make ourselves, and then we're going to return it here, and we could send that back to the front end. But let's just hold it in a variable, const error handled, we'll call it. Okay, and you know what? Let's make this before everything. Let's let error handled equal ERR. So no matter what, error handled is holding the entire error, and if we want to change the message like we're going to do here, we will reset error handled to the result of this DBError, which will have the new message on it, and then we'll send the status out. I know it seems like a lot, but once we do this quick switch statement, I think it'll make a lot of sense. Let's go and make a utils folder on the outside here, just utils. And in our utils folder, we're going to make DBError. So DBError.js. So const DBError will equal the error that we pass in, and fat arrow function your way out there. On the bottom of the screen, just module.exports, and set that equal to DBError. All right, so we are exporting the function. Now we need to get the error code. We see where the error code is. It's at the beginning of this long string, and it's the first member of the string. So we're going to split the string at each one of these spaces. So let's say a const error code will equal err.message.split. And we want to split it at the first space, and then we want the first element. So now we're just going to be holding the error code. The result of the code I just wrote would be E11000 in this case. And we could console.log error code, just so we could see it in the console when it does come up. We'll delete that later. Let's make our switch statement. And here's how a switch statement looks. We're going to switch over a key, and the key is going to be, you guessed it, error code. So we're switching over error code, and then we're telling it the different values of error code and what we want to say. So if the value is E11000, that's the one we just got, and I got this code because error.message is going to equal this user already exists. So now we'll have a nice error message coming back to the front there, to the front end there. And after that, we're going to return the error, because this error now has an error.message attached to it and this is what it says. And even if it had an error.message attached to it before, it's overwritten by this new message. And that's what we wanted to do there. We're returning the error so we could kill the break here. There are several different cases that we could do this for. I'm just going to do 2 and a general default case. So here's the second case we could do this for. And the case is called E50. It's capital E. E50 is a timed out request. So we'll say err.message. So instead of them getting an error message that starts with E50, they'll get an error message that says request timed out. So that'll look much better on the front end. And then what do we have to do with it? We have to return the error again. Now on the default case, this is what happens if it doesn't hit E11000 or E50. If it's any other error code, it's going to go to this default case. And in this default case, we'll take out the break because we're going to return ERR. But we know that it's a database issue, so let's just say message equals database error. Please try again later, and about some dots, dot, dot, dot. Okay, so here's what we're doing here. We're going to get that error. We're going to switch over it with our switch statement, and we're going to return a new error.message that we could hit the front end with. So let's push that to the front end now. So we need to import DBError. Let's do that first. We'll put that up here. Const DBError equals require, and we need to find our path to utils. DBError, perfect. Now head down to sign up is what we were working on. And we see we put in our error handler, which is going to equal the error handled, which is going to equal error. And if error.name is equal to MongoError, push that error into the DBError error handler and hold the result, the return statement of the error handler, in error handled. And send back to the front end a res.status of 401 and a message of, let's do the message. So we want to open up an object here. We want to define message, and that will be res error dot message. So now we have the message going back, and we can get that on the front end. Let's go to the front end and get that in, and then we'll make this request again. So we'll head to auth and just head to sign up user. That's where I am already. We had the error.response. What I want now is I want the console.log instead of error.response. It's going to be err.response.data.message. So everything coming back in that object is the data. That's the data object, and we labeled this part message. So message will come back, and we should be able to see what we wrote in our error handler for this user already exists for this error code. Here, let's take a look. We're going to sign up user 1 again. And there must be an error. Let me take a look. This user already exists. Oh, okay. I made a typo over here. I called this error handled. Then I called it res error. Okay. That was just a typo mistake. Let's try this again. Great. All right. Sign up that user one more time. That was user1, user.com. Okay, here we are. So we have the unauthorized, and here is the message. This user already exists. So we're sending back, instead of that big error code, we're sending back something nice that a user can actually understand, go, oh, right, I have an account here already, or I've used this email here already, and I need to make a new account, whatever that might be. So this is kind of how we'd like to handle the errors, and I'd like them all to be handled this way in the authController. So the authController should be pushing back basically the same thing every time, message, and then the error.message. So let's take a look at that. So in login, right now we have a message. Login failed, that always works nice, but this one, we just have error.message. We want to make this an object so that it's the same every time. It's error.response.data.message. So message. and error.message. And we can do the same thing for other spots as well, but we have insecure. You can see we made a message and we made a message here. So on the front end, now we just have to pay attention to the error.message. That was just to show us how to get the secret content. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Perfect. So on the front end, let's just change our functions to all console log error response data message. And we have some basic error handling in here. Oh, that was already there. Perfect. Let's get rid of this and this. And remember, we have one more function. Don't forget about this function just because it's over here. You can see we have our logout user, and if they catch an error, let's do this. And the get secret doesn't matter. That was just for fun. Okay, so we are now set up with some error handling and everything in our app is working again. I'm going to move everything that we have going on here into Redux because I think having state management right out of the box is something I want when I start a project. So next time I start a project and I use this as my starting point, I want some state management in there. So I'm going to do Redux and Thunk. I'm going to quickly move everything over there, explaining things lightly, not giving a full overview of Redux and Thunk. If you want something like that, let me know. I could do that in a future series where it's a little more important, where state management comes in more, like a lot more than just signing someone up and getting one piece of user data back or a password, so on. We can do that somewhere else. But you might want to check out the Redux move anyway, just so you can see where everything moves. And you can definitely, right after we write all the Redux stuff, you'll be able to write more logout functions, login functions, functionalities like that. You'll know where they go, and you won't have to dig too heavily into Redux just to get started on that. So great job on this one. Follow me into the next one, and I'll see you there.